What can we expect, Colin, from this Ulster match today?
Well, without being too blunt about it, I think it could be one of these horror shows from Ulster, because wet ball, wet day, very defensive teams. I can't see much hope in free-flowing football, and the Ulster Championship, with the exception of the Armagh-Tyrone game, I think has been dreadful. Standard is not nearly as good as it was, and I think these two teams, Down survived in the first division. Monaghan went to the third division. I don't think, or did Down survive?
Down came third in the first division. More than survived.
I think that basically these are two teams who are not going to be competitive for the All-Ireland, but obviously with an Ulster final place at stake, it's going to be a tough competitive match.
Down came third in that league, and yet they had one of the worst defensive records in it, oddly enough.
They actually had the worst attacking record, believe it or not. They scored.
Maybe that was it. The difference was.
Do you know, like it's a team third in Division 1 playing a team who got relegated to Division 3. Do you know, Monaghan have had two successive relegations now, from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3. So on paper, you'd say a third in Division 1 against a team who would be in Division 3 next year. You'd say it's an open and shut case. Down raging hot favourites and should win. But I've a sneaky feeling. I'm not too sure whether it'll be a good or bad game. I think it will be a very, very tight game. You look at the scoring there, like I said, Down scored only 483 in Division 1 in the league. That was the lowest scores of that Division 1. Monaghan's case, they conceded 5 goals and 105 points, which was the worst defensive record in the top 2 divisions. Of the two, both have had matches to date. I mean, Down played against Fermanagh. Fermanagh had 14 men for 62 minutes, so wouldn't read a whole pile into it. Antrim gave Monaghan a fair tough battle, and with 20 minutes to go, Antrim were 2 points ahead, and just Monaghan in that last 20 minutes, they showed great character and great spirit. You know, they Antrim only scored 1 point in the remaining 20 minutes, and Monaghan won. There was one thing, like they come in with very unpredictable form from the league, because Down were hammered by Cork down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It was a horror show. Yet at the same time, Down beat Dublin. Now, you look at Division 2 where Monaghan were. Monaghan had only 2 victories. One of them was against Laois, where they scored 224. But in round 2 of the league, and this is what I will hold out hope for Monaghan, in round 2 of the league, they beat Kildare, and that was a fair result.
Love the interprovincial series. So Darren Hughes going to take this. Suffered a dead leg over the last couple of weeks, and that is...
Neither Callum King nor Ambrose Rogers have been in the game in those early stages.
Mark Toland makes himself available. That free from Aidan Palmer. Nice pick up by Paul Finlay. Lays it off as Pete Dooney. Into the corner for Kieran Hughes. Chasing after him, Benny McCarty. Back outside for Finlay. Swinging this one in. Oh, that is a thing of beauty. Paul Finlay, also back from injury, signals his arrival in the athletic grounds in Armagh with one of the finest scores we've seen in the championship. Look at this.
Well, I thought the ball from Dooney to Hughes was overcooked somewhat. I thought Hughes' pass out to Paul Finlay was leaving Paul Finlay with an impossible angle to shoot from. But look at that for accuracy. That was a delight to witness.
Went off injured against Antrim after 20 minutes with a shoulder injury. Here come Monaghan. Again, Conor McManus on the run. Incisive and indeed decisive, taking his point. And Monaghan have started in a very confident fashion here. 3 points on the scoreboard and just over 6 minutes gone. Fine point by McManus. The count here in Armagh. Slipped as he kicked it, but it's still on target. Here's Moan again. Conor Laverty chasing after him. Dick Clerkin. James Turley. Out to the corners again for Conor McManus. Conor Garvey after him. The battle of the Conors. It's McManus on the turn. Superb score. 2 points for Conor McManus, both from flag, and we just have over almost 13 minutes gone in the first half. Problems in that sector for Down.
Yeah, problems in that sector, but the quality of the crossfield ball to release McManus into space was of a very high quality. McManus did what all good forwards should do, took his man on, saw the opportunity and executed it to perfection.
4-year-old Conor McManus, student in University of Ulster, Jordanstown, takes the kick and gets the point. Ball goes down the middle. This time, breaks free. Goligly chases after it. Goalkeeper McVeigh was alert to the task. Had to come off his line quickly. Still pressure on Benny McArdle. Taking too many turns. 16 and a half minutes. Paul Finlay takes his point with ease.
More and given Paul Finlay the opportunity, but they're playing with much greater desire than Down. Down have surprised me greatly today. They haven't come into this game at all with any real aggression.
Paul Finlay gets his third point of the match. It's a pretty bright start by Monaghan. When you look at the scoreboard, 7 points to 1.
Probably we've seen, I think it was Poland who did the donkey work, and it was Rogers who got through with the run, but he was fouled in the process of shooting. So it's the second score, I think, for Down.
First real penetrative run by Down ends up with a free, which is sent over the bar, by the way, by Donald O'Hare. Carl O'Connell floating this one in high. Well gathered by Kieran Hughes. Has to come all the way back to the 45 to try and gather it, clean it. He eventually gets down on it. It's here's a man who never played minor football for his county. He's blossomed into a fine senior inter-county footballer based on what we've seen this afternoon so far. That's 4 points from McManus, 2 from play, 2 from frees.
Yeah, and a deserved lead for Monaghan. Their application has been spot on from the first whistle. I think the game actually discovered that day against Antrim that they had a lot of weaknesses in the team. He made 4 changes for
Kevin McKernan from Byrne, whose club I believe are doing quite well in Féile na Gael. We wish everybody involved in Féile this weekend every success. I believe Byrne are in a Division 1 final.
No, Division 2.
Division 2, is it?
Yeah, they beat Castlebar, my club, yesterday actually in one of the group stages games.
So Conor McManus on the under-21 team beaten by Armagh in the Ulster final a few years ago is a man on form. He now has scored 5 points in the Morgan Athletic. Oh, that's great defending by Desi Moe. Down, hanging about, and Paul Finlay has acres of the athletic grounds in front of him. Looking around, decides he has to go solo, and it's a very good decision. Paul Finlay with his 4th point of the game. Between Finlay and McManus, they have now registered 9 points out of that tally of 10. The other point being scored by right half back and captain Darren Hughes. But such tenacity, again, has to be admired in Monaghan.
Oh, it has to be, but Downer over and Finlay did the rest. A lovely score for Monaghan, and they're fully deserved of their 8 points lead.
Monaghan's 10 points, 6 from frees, 4 from play, and they're beginning to dominate more and more. It's Dick Clerkin with the left foot. 1 half-back, 1 midfielder, and 2 in the full forward line have now registered 11 points here in Armagh. Monaghan leading by 9 as the half-time break comes a little bit closer. Wonderful run this time by Darren Hughes. Off to Clerkin, off to the left boot, straight between the posts.
Yeah, and I think that's the source of the Monaghan ascendancy at the moment, is with Clerkin and with Lennon in around the middle of the field, and an outstanding half-back line and half-forward line. Just the feeder system is incessant. Darren have no answers.
2 minutes of additional time left in this opening half. Torrid opening half for Down, and perhaps Laverty is the man. Lovely jink inside, lovely turn. Is he fouled inside the large rectangle? I think so, and so does the referee. A penalty for Down on the stroke of half-time. A sizzling, scintillating run by Conor Laverty. Monaghan were exposed. Vinnie Corey is going to be spoken to, perhaps given a yellow card, but Laverty deserves the credit here. Wonderful run, lovely jink. Fooled him. Monaghan defending there on that occasion was a little bit rushed, to say the least, to give Down a lifeline. Mark Kill dancing along the line, but he fails to stop it as Aidan Carr finds the corner. And this surely will be a huge psychological boost to Down.
Oh, a huge psychological boost. The timing is to perfection, but as is the kick. Indeed, it must be said that Mark Keogh would be somewhat disappointed in not saving that. He went the right way and just dived over the ball somewhat. The ball just got underneath him. But just watch Laverty.
Passion is full of intensity. It's the two modern ills of the modern game are there in abundance. Loads of bodies back and loads of hand passing the ball to it. There's only one team playing, and that's Monaghan. You know, they're playing with great intensity, great passion. They're winning centre field. They're driving out from the half-back line. And some of the movements into attack leading to a couple of the scores were absolutely fantastic. Lovely diagonal ball into the corners where Conor McManus and Paul Finlay are doing well. But you remember Anthony Daly said last night, you know, the Dublin hurling team were like a crowd of fellas that he assembled at the Red Cow. I mean, this is like as if there was an announcement made before the game. Would 15 down fellas come in and bring your gear in because we don't have a team? Because they're playing with no passion, no intensity. They're playing like it's like a bunch of fellas who were put together for the first time. I mean, Michael, and just one final point. I mean, a couple of great scores, but I mean, there was 12 forwards played in that first half. 12 forwards. No one scored from play from Down in the entire 37 minutes, and 2 forwards scored from play from Monaghan. So Monaghan by far the better team. Tasmania against Spies, but not a great game of football, Michael. Oh God save us, no.
Right, so I'll rephrase that. I've enjoyed watching Monaghan that first half, Colin.
Okay, I'll take that, Michael.
Despite my dismal predictions at the start, I actually quite enjoyed the game.
Oh no, you couldn't have, sure. Your man said it's terrible.
Well, obviously Pat is the expert here, so, but from my point of view, I actually thought it was quite enjoyable, and it's not.
There was only one team playing, Colin.
Yeah, there was only one team playing, but at least Monaghan went out and tried to play the game in the proper way. They were kicking good diagonal balls. They were working awful hard. And once you play Monaghan in a league or championship, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get heart, passion and commitment. And if you're not able to match that, then you're not at the races. And Down didn't. They're just dreadful. And their backline, which I highlighted in the beginning, which couldn't defend, I didn't think they could get any worse than that, but they certainly have invented even more stupid mistakes, and they don't seem to have the basics of marking a man. I would, apart from Conor Laverty, maybe Danny Hughes and Ambrose Rogers, the rest of the Down team have been absolutely dreadful and would need to take a good look at themselves in the dressing room.
Well, certainly.
And away come Down again. Donald O'Hare to Conor Laverty. Great crossfield ball back to Donald O'Hare. This is more like Down. What about the finish? It's squeezing. Just about no, says the umpire. Over perhaps the top of the post. And again, to their credit, no protest. But there's a little bit of a pep in the Down men's step in this second half, isn't there?
Much more verve, and it's epitomised by Conor Laverty here. He's like a little will-o'-the-wisp, goes into tackles. You need to be very disciplined in taking him on because he's very like they're big, strong boys, so they're going to knock him back quite easily. But Michael Duffy was perfectly right to give the free in that time because the tackle was neck high.
Donald O'Hare, who scored a point in the first half from a free, steadies the ship with his second point from a place ball. Better out of Down, much better.
It's much better out of Down, Marty, and they've started to get a grip around the middle of the field. It's noticeable that Callum
Eamon McEnany having a chat with some of his backroom team. Caleb King is beginning to have a major influence, as well as Ambrose Rogers in the middle of the field. Left corner back is Jared McCarthy. Danny Hughes. Ambrose Rogers surges forward. Good layoff as Kevin Duffin has a chance. Aims for just over the crossbar, and Kevin Duffin gets a fine point, much to the delight of the Down supporters. And Down are playing in a far better mental state and in a higher gear by far.
Yeah, that's a fabulous point, but a credit to Caleb King. He's had a great opening 9 or 10 minutes of the second half. They've won actually the last 4 Monaghan kicks. Has been evident in the National League. It's been evident from one half to the other today.
Point is taken by Donald O'Hare for his 3rd point of the match. And Colin Walsh gets the free. This is Donald O'Hare, an All-Ireland Colleges medal winner with St. Coleman's in Newry, and the family Geo near Banbridge. And Down are playing Was this the same group of players that played the first half, we ask? Mark Poland goes for that ball in towards Conor Laverty. Lovely little chink. Onto the right boot. What about that for a finish? Conor Laverty with Down's second point from play. And this is a whole new ball game.
Fabulous score, but it must be said that it goes all the way back to a wonderful piece of fielding in the back line by Brendan McArdle. Lovely bit of counter-attacking up the field. And once it can get Laverty on the end of those passes, he has wonderful little sidestep and the capacity to shoot great points. But we have some game in our hands now.
At half-time, it was Monaghan 11 points, Down 1-2. Down failing to score in the opening 35 minutes from play. Look at the scoreboard now in the top left-hand corner of your television screen. 11 points to 1-6. What about Monaghan's response? Off the post, Benny McArdle is there. Kieran Hughes, 2005. Captained Abbey, CBS and Newry to their only All-Ireland Colleges title. There's football in these Down team and they're beginning to show it. Here's Laverty again on the turn. Magnificent Laverty. Second point from play. And the Down fans respond to what they're seeing, watching and indeed admiring from these boys that failed to produce any sort of significant impact in the first half, and in the second 35 minutes they're certainly playing quality decision. Was that a second penalty for Down? I'm sure we'll see in just a moment. Have another look as Stephen Golightly goes on the counter-attack. Ball inside, Paris de Clerkin. He scored a point in the first half. Difficult angle. Seems to be the wrong option, and it is. It's going to delay, but was this a penalty, Martin?
Yeah, just watching it. That's outside the square. That pass was executed. I think there's a push in the back definitely by Carl O'Connell that time. Okay, maybe the referee didn't see that. It should have been a penalty.
Quick kick out from Brendan McVeigh. Was that a foul? Here comes Monaghan. There's a chance of a goal, and it's deflected out. James Turley's effort saved by Brendan McVeigh. Yeah, it definitely was a foul on Aidan Carr. Darren Hughes gets his second point of the match. And Monaghan get their first score of the second half, and their first since the 34th minute. And we've 20 minutes, almost 21 minutes played in the second half. Owen Lennon unable to hold on to it. Danny Hughes goes forward. Comes one up towards Conor Laverty. Laverty is now getting the type of supply that he wants. Colin Walsh beside him. Ambrose Rogers, Paris Mark Poland changes direction. Nice ball. Challenge on Owen Lennon was a little bit late, but it doesn't matter because it goes off Aidan Carr, who has now scored a goal and a point in this Ulster semi-final and is almost guaranteed, I'm sure, a starting position considering his performance in this Ulster semi-final if the Mourne men do qualify for that Ulster final against Donegal or Tyrone.
Yeah, that's great responsibility taken by Carr that time. Good work initially.
Did exceptionally well. Ball over first, James Turley. Into the corner, referee spotted there was a jersey pull on Turley after, or indeed in the corner forward as he was coming out, and he has given a free. Ball is quickly taken, there's a chance for Monaghan! Tommy Freeman! Down players are protesting vehemently, but it seems to be to no avail as Monaghan took the quick free, and the ball was planted in the back of the net before anybody could do anything about it. A yellow card for Benny McArdle, and this game has turned on its head in a moment of quick vision and thinking by Monaghan into Freeman, and he rattled it past Brendan McVeigh.
And he's perfectly entitled to do that, to take a quick free like that. It was outside the 30-metre line. That was absolutely legitimate. That was poor concentration by the Down defenders.
The free taken by Donald O'Hare.
Go on, or let the play go on rather, and has booked him now.
Donald O'Hare going to take this. Hits it with every ounce of muscle. It almost went beyond the stanchion at the back. It's his 5th point in the game. All of them from frees. Confirmation that Tommy Freeman, number 25 from Monaghan, is now on a yellow card.
A lot of the down players are calling for over-carrying that time. He carried quite a bit, actually. Carried more than the 4 steps before he was fouled, and I can understand why the down players are calling for a free out.
Paul Finlay. Easy for the Monaghan, number 14. 5 points to his credit. 3 points between the teams, 113 to 110. Monaghan only registering 2 points in the second half of an intriguing contest. Drew Wiley lays it off as Dick Clerkin. Conor Garvey trying to make sure he didn't foul him. Points to the gut. Here comes that cheer. Benny Coulter broke his ankle at the end of April. Wasn't expected to return till July, but he's been training so hard over the last number of months. He's on for Donal O'Hare, who had contributed 5 points all from frees. Drew Wiley gives him a Monaghan welcome to the Ulster Championship. Vinnie Corey has now been switched on to him as Monaghan immediately respond to his presence. Kick out by Brendan McVeigh. Oh, lovely little layoff by Mark Poland. Coming through the middle, it's Caleb King. Here's Benny. Can he score in his very first touch? Benny is the man. And Down will respond. Have no doubt about it. Because when Benny Coulter is on the field, you have an all-star footballer. His very first touch.
Very first touch indeed, but a lovely touch when you're speaking of them from Mark Poland to Caleb King with the assist to Coulter. But that score will lift Down now, only 2 points in it, just going into the final furlong, so to speak. So it's anybody's game, it must be said.
Monaghan have introduced Neil McAdam. Player that's gone off is James Turley, and I'm sure his yellow card. Donal O'Hare obviously substituted, scored 5 from frees. Now the responsibility falls to this man, Liam Doyle. Not easy for any substitute, but when you're a player of rich experience from Leitrim, I know they're playing in Castlebar today, but this is Leitrim in County Down, and then you have a man that's valuable to say the least. 1 point between the teams.
Well, certainly the two substitutions that James McCartan has made have, borne a dividend. Coulter's point, Liam Doyle's
first half, scored a splendid point under pressure when Owen Lennon was challenging. This to equalise. It drops over the crossbar. Aidan Carr is the name. Down have levelled the match, having trailed by 11 points to 1. Monaghan dominated the first half. Down have dominated the second half. And Monaghan are backtracking. There is only one Monaghan player inside the down half of the field. This is kicked in. Dangerous ball. Mark Keogh gets a touch. There's a chance here of a winner! Oh, McCartan is at the end of it. So too is Darren O'Hagan. And it's O'Hagan that takes the credit. And Down, incredibly, go 1 in front.
That's wonderful play by Darren O'Hagan that time. Followed up wonderfully well. Anticipated the rebound coming off the goalkeeper and held his nerve and tapped it over the bar. That's the leading score just at the right time from a Down point of view. But you're perfectly right, Marty. That penalty coming into half-time will in retrospect be the crucial score of the game.
And it's all Down. Caleb King, Benny Coulter, Danny Hughes. Referee says it was a foul pass, and it's Monaghan that gained the free. Benny Coulter is pleading with the referee, and there's Desi Moan. They cannot afford to lose possession. Owen Lennon flicking it forward. It's Dick Clerkin. Is he the man? It is wide. Is that Monaghan's chance of a place in the Ulster final gone? There's a late challenge by Ambrose Rogers, it would appear, because his referee has just shown a yellow card to the Down captain.
Well, the two midfielders, not for the first time combined that time, and I think it's Dirk Sherkin will look back with dismay on that.
Incredibly, what a performance by Down. Darren O'Hagan is the match winner, but much more importantly, it's the spirit of the men from the county of Down. They responded to a challenge, a game that Monaghan dominated in the first half. They led 11 points to 1-2, but what about that for a second half comeback by Down? They ended up winning by a point. Darren O'Hagan, the match winner, Down 1-14, Monaghan 1-13, and it's Down that are in the Ulster final against Donegal or Tyrone. Back to you, Michael.
Marty Morrissey and Martin Carney, your commentators in Armagh this afternoon. Colin O'Rourke and Pat Spillane with me here in studio. Pat, what happened to Monaghan?
Okay, I'm taking everything back that I said at half-time. I enjoyed that game, full of passion, full of endeavour.
I told you.
You know, who'd want to be an analyst, because a different Down team came out in the second half. That was it. They played with everything that we said at half-time, that they're required to play with passion, with intensity. They needed to raise the tempo. They needed to show more spirit in the Down jersey, and certainly there was a lot of home truths told at half-time, and they came out. They moved the ball quicker, faster, and Monaghan were asleep, and Down deserved to win it. I enjoyed that second half, full of passion and endeavour.
And that...
The gun to the guys head at half-time and asked them to try and turn it around. We didn't change too much about it and just asked the same personnel to start putting their bodies on the line, and thank goodness they did.
I'm very, very disappointed for the lads. I couldn't compliment them enough for their effort and the work rate and the time that they put in, everything, but unfortunately today they didn't get a reward for all that work, and there is no place like a loser's dressing but lose by a point in that manner.
And so Down...
You know, two teams clearly struggling with confidence problems. I mean, Monaghan were in the driving seat. They were 11 points to 2 just before half-time. The Down penalty was crucial. Conor Laverty, if Conor Laverty hadn't been there today, I mean, Down would most certainly have lost the game. There can be no doubt about that. And after the Down penalty, Monaghan's confidence evaporated entirely, and in the second half, you know, although they had plenty of chances, they had plenty of ball, you know, there wasn't much between the sides, and you would have thought that they should have pushed on at that stage, even though there was a very strong breeze. Right. You know, in the end, I think that Monaghan's confidence evaporated, and Laverty was the crucial player, vibrant throughout, a brilliant performance from a tiny man physically. Yes. I mean, the sort of fella that you don't see much anymore in Gaelic football.
But when you talk about that loss of confidence, I mean, the opening from Monaghan was fantastic, Tony.
Yeah, the start was brilliant. They dominated midfield.
Crucial. It looked as though that was Monaghan's passage through to an Ulster final.
But is the referee thinking, though, I mustn't take the advantage away from the
No, it was scandalously unfair. Once he took out his book, once he beckoned the Down player towards him, he beckoned the Down player towards him, and the Down player came towards him, I mean, it was a real shocker, you'd have to say. I mean,
well, it's time to name our GA man of the match now. It was the choice of our co-commentator, Martin Carney, but it would seem to be a broad choice. He selected down forward Conor Laverty.
It was fantastic football in the second half. Probably we let ourselves down in the first half. We did not perform, but we came out all guns blazing, and thankfully got down.
It's a final to look forward to now. How much does that mean to you?
It's great to be in an Ulster final, and now we're just looking forward to playing either Tyrone or Donegal, who'll be tough opponents, but we'll be ready for them.
Well, Conor, you're the man of the match, and Damien Milligan from Ulster Bank will present you with your award.